we had the most famous watch expert on the planet on the show today.
I have an obsession with making money. At the moment, it's 25.6 million. That's the stock we have in the business. Most expensive transaction I've ever done was $7 million. Wearing a nice watch gives you a lot of confidence. And it opens doors, believe it or not. Shut your fucking mouth if you wear a fake watch. You don't give a shit. You're a hypocrite. If you ever taken a photo and you're acting like you're cool with a private jet, I actually think you're a fucking loser. Private jet success, off. I work my ass off for that money. You need to be grateful. Then I'm willing to spend that money. That's remarkable. That's 7 figures right there. Either you're gonna fucking die, or this is gonna be a success. It's either one of them. And I was in that situation. I was burned out, mate. I couldn't do anything. I was in bed for over a week. When my father figured out what I'd done, I've never seen my father as angry in my life, right? When it's not a passion anymore, when you're done, it's over. But it's a passion for a reason. I'll die doing what I do today.
So today we're actually in Northern Ireland to film, aren't we?
Indeed we are.
Certainly are. That was a drive and a half. 550 miles I had to drive. Then catch a ferry from Stranraer all the way across the Irish Sea.
And luckily, we didn't have to drive. We just took a plane trip and it was quite
We
nice.
had a nice hour flight and still fell asleep.
Who
exactly.
booked this? This ain't fair. Someone else should have been driving.
But yeah, today we're here to talk all about watches, aren't we? And I actually bought this watch because you recommended it to me.
One of my friends is into watches. He's been going to all the shows around the country and actually met today's guest a long time before we did. So of course I put it on your radar. I still don't have one for some reason, but I need to get one.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn more about watches today. We had the most famous watch expert on the planet on the show today. And his name is, of course, Nico Leonard. So
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Here he comes.
Yes!
He's bringing the energy.
That's it. I don't get many applauses in life, you know. I found my most comfortable and flattering position. This is gonna be gone soon, by the way, guys.
You getting a workout routine going?
No, I'm gonna do YouTube boxing.
Don't worry.
nice.
Greenpeace will come and rescue you. Don't worry.
Fucking right.
Who's the opponent? KSI?
Mate, he's too ripped for me. Like I'm in the fat man class, but we're working on that.
Maybe True Geordie, who knows?
Maybe.
That'd be interesting.
Option. No, he looks too scary, mate.
Yeah.
I'm just a normal dude, mate. He looks scary as. Can I use normal? Can I be myself? Or do
You can be
Yeah,
yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
I look scary as fuck. That's it.
So, Nico, you're best known for roasting watches.
Yes.
What do you think of mine? I'm just going to take it off and give it to you.
Yeah.
So you can have a bit of a roast if you want. Depends if you
Is
like.
it real or is it a fake?
That's real. So that's good.
Just
It's a
like
nice
that.
watch, right? I can't roast it because I actually have one myself as well, because then I would roast my own watch. That would be a bit weird, wouldn't it? But that's something. Like, I mean, being known for roasting watches.
Can you,
Who would have thought that? If you said that to me in 2020, you'll be famous for
What
roasting
strap
watches.
do you prefer? The Oyster
Jubilee
or the-
bracelet
you
all
prefer
day,
that,
every day. Yeah, on this watch, a Jubilee bracelet. all
Yeah, I
day,
think
every
so
day.
too.
I think the Jubilee is just more classy. It's more playful. Where I think that the Oyster bracelet is more. It's supposed to be on a dive watch, right? It's more rugged.
Because I want a Batman, but I want the Oyster on it.
Why do you want a Batman?
I just like it. To be fair, it's actually...
you just want to be different from him?
I think it's my favourite entry-level watch, and I wanted it long before I even
Can
knew
you
what that
repeat
was.
yourself one more time?
My favourite entry-level watch. I wouldn't be getting a date just.
So this is entry level.
that's what he's been telling me. So I got this watch because he recommended
I
it.
would say a stainless steel watch like that is entry. I wouldn't be getting a date just personally. But
No, you know what? In my world, entry level is
go on.
Casio. That's entry level.
That's God tier.
That's God tier, but it's entry level. That's where you start.
Fair
It's
play.
entry. Like, I mean, so many people. Like,
I think for me, a watch is a show of wealth. So a cheap watch just doesn't really make sense for me. But that's how I see it. I know
fair.
they're very different. for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like, I mean, wearing a nice watch, first of all, gives you a lot of confidence. At least I can speak for myself. Wearing a nice watch gives you a lot of confidence, and it opens doors. Believe it or not, like, it genuinely opens doors. You start a conversation different when you wear a Rolex and someone on the other side of the table knows what that is. You're all of a sudden, unfortunately, being taken more serious.
Because you could wear a fortune in jewellery, although I don't go with the whole man jewellery thing.
Yeah,
But
why-
you could wear a fortune, but it doesn't really tell you what that guy's worth like a watch does
It's
it?
not as manly either as a
No,
watch.
but like a diamond doesn't cost that much, mate. Like, and diamond is, like, I mean, you don't know if it's glass, if it's zirconia, if it's anything else. Like, I mean, it means basically nothing. But a watch, when you wear a real Rolex and someone sees that, yeah, I mean, that's wealth. You've done well for yourself. You see what I mean? So I get what you're saying, but calling this entry level,
Well, you've got a particularly...
That's different level, like.
Stop down in my watch.
Yeah, exactly. Is it just annoy him or what?
Well, but this is his first
so.
of many though. So
Yeah.
this is his entry level watch. I'm sure.
So
it'll only
you've
go
got a
up from here.
particularly beautiful watch in that case there.
Yeah.
But we're going to leave it in that case. We're going to use that as watch time strategy for this video.
If you pardon the pun.
Proper
so
pro
we'll
YouTubers
have a-
here.
And I think that's worth waiting for, don't you?
That is worth
Yeah,
it.
we'll have a look at it at some point random in the episode.
Yeah.
But to the people that don't know what that watch is, could you explain it to the audience?
Yeah, this is what we call the Rolex GMT Master 2, the Pepsi, reference number 126710 BLNR, and BL stands for bleu. BLRO. Sorry.
That's
How
a
can you
rare
rem-
mistake.
Wow.
There,
How can you remember all these numbers? Though? That's the thing that would really get me, the numbers.
I'm autistic as fuck, mate. I'm autistic as fuck. Now, it's actually quite easy, but because a GMT is always very similar, and a 116710 LN is, for example, black, lunette, noir, lunette, bezel, noir being black. To give you an idea, the new version of that, so these are the 1-2 instead of 1-1. The 6710 is just a sequence. How can you remember your phone number?
I
That's
don't.
exactly how that works. No, you don't.
Not nowadays.
You know your phone. I know your phone
I do know
number.
my phone
So-
number, but generally you don't, do you? Nowadays, numbers are lost. They're in your iPad. You don't
You have
to
too
remember
many numbers
them.
on your bank account if you forget your phone number.
That,
mate.
that is a problem I have to admit to. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Humble flex.
So this is the 126710 BLRO Blue Rouge.
Currently valued at.
You're not having it back, Kurt.
I would value,
He's taking it, he's selling that one. eh?
currently I value it between 15 and 16,000
Oh,
sterling.
lost a bit then since I bought it. But
Did you bought it grey market?
yeah,
What did you
I
pay?
bought it for about 18 or so. It
but it's
went
fine.
up and then obviously it's gone down recently.
It's fine. Like I mean, you buy the watch not to make money. You buy the
No,
watch to
exactly.
enjoy it every single day and to make
Yeah.
impact with that watch in conversations.
Exactly.
And if you lose, 20%? So what?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm never going to sell that watch because we bought that when we reached 1 million subscribers on the Mark Tilbury channel, which is something we've been trying to do for so long. So that commemorates that experience.
fair enough. It's a beautiful watch, mate. Well done. Why the fuck didn't you not buy that from Pride and Pinion?
I bought it from Trotters. You know
Yeah.
Trotters?
Yes,
and
I
we've
do.
had him on the podcast as well.
All right, fair enough. So,
there we go.
can I expect now a sale from you guys? Or
Yeah, at some point I'll get my second watch from
Mark,
you. How
get your
about that?
fucking money out. Get your fucking money out. Let's buy a watch, son.
Well, I think we're going to go and visit your store or whatever later on. You can tell me what you got, can't we? And we can go from there.
Ah, exactly.
I'm desperate for Mark to get one, to be honest.
Well, what's a Hulk currently trading at?
Why do you want a Hulk?
I just like. Well, look, green. You're not wearing a color to go with anything in particular, but green sort of I think goes with everything. It stands out. It looks great, and it's similar watch to my son, but not the same.
Fair enough. But I actually think the opposite. I think green absolutely limits what you're wearing.
Really?
Definitely with
Okay.
that sunburst style. I actually think it limits you. I think the black Submariner all day, every day, that's a watch you can wear in any situation. If you like to be in the garden, if you like to do your racing, if you like to do you can wear it casually, you can wear it dressed up, dressed down, you can wear it when you're in bed. Say nothing. You can literally, that's the black on black is for me the best perfect watch. This is the thing, right? And definitely in the case when you've done well for yourself in life, when you have a good few quid behind you, right? It's merely converting money into a watch,
Into another asset.
into another asset, which you can within 5 minutes. One phone call, convert it back if you need to, right? So it's just nice to know that there's something there in the corner, lying there or on your wrist that's worth a few quid, right? And it's not to show off because the Submariner is not a show off watch. It's just a nice watch.
So the Black Submariner, how
You
much
buy,
is that?
I would say the 41 mil, you buy it in around 12.
Okay.
And that's perfect. It's the perfect watch. And I actually have my sub, and you can try it on, and we have enough there. So I'm gonna sell him a watch, ladies and
He has
gentlemen.
Do you know
He's
what?
got
it.
I just knew this trip would cost me some money at some point.
Seeing looking at your operation here, yes, definitely.
All our money's in cameras.
Jesus Christ, mate! I thought I did YouTube well, but
Yeah,
unbelievable.
we try and flex with the equipment, don't we?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a flex.
yeah, this
so
is-
if we take it all the way back, can you remember the first time you put on and wore a watch and how it made you feel?
No, I can't remember the first time I wore a watch, but what I can remember, the first time my parents got me a watch and how that made me feel. And that was a Seiko that was gold and steel, and it looked very, very, very similar to a Rolex Datejust, and that at the age of 16 gave me the confidence I needed at that time. And I still have that watch. I love that watch to bits. Yeah, that's what I remember. But the first time ever wearing a watch, like, the funny bit is, you see that thing hanging up there? That's my first. That's my first ever watch, right? And the reason why it's hanging there is because I lose that watch constantly.
It's quite elegantly placed.
Yeah, as well, right? It's really random, actually. But I lose it all the time, everywhere, right? And then I put it in a box or I talk about it. It's just like, I lose it. So a friend of mine actually hung it up there and said, nah, you never lose that again. So
Yeah, you
I haven't lost it since.
I think you should get a frame for it or something. Rather than just have it
I reckon you
And
could
sign
do that.
it.
Something like that. But for me, the first time to wear a proper watch, it was a Seiko. I mean, that really gave me confidence. And the fact that it looked like a Rolex Datejust, and people asked, is that a Rolex? It's like, yeah. You know, trying to flex and stuff. And yeah, that was...
Why do you think a good watch fills someone with confidence and can help them get out there?
The reason for that is insecurity. It's very simple, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm insecure. Everyone is insecure. Everyone has his insecurities. And if you say that you don't, then you're lying, because that's a fact, right? For me, it being definitely in the era and the generation that I grew up with, you always want to... You always want to have one up, or you always want to do good or better than someone else. I'm very competitive in that nature. There's people that are absolutely not competitive, but like for me, I'm always very competitive.
We're the same. Whenever we go skiing, we're trying to beat each other.
Exactly.
Anything we can do.
Always. So what would you say to people that say, what's the point in a high price watch when you can tell the phone on your time? Tell the time on your phone. Yeah. What would you say to that?
It's like, you just don't get the point. You just don't get the point, right? Because it's not to tell the time. You use a watch to tell the time, but we don't need expensive watches in our lives. We don't need that. There's no need. The same as you don't need specific jewelry, right? You don't need that. But there's something absolutely magical about a mechanical watch or a watch of certain value. There's not an object in the world, there's not a single object in the world where what you can wear every single day, what you can hand down to the next generation, or what has been handed down to you from a previous generation, and what you can enjoy and wear with pride every single day. And it's not about what the watch tells you, it's about what the watch tells you other than the time.
Have you ever inherited any watches?
Yes. Yeah. And my grandfather was actually quite wealthy. My parents not. My dad was a hippie. My mom was a nurse, and not that hippie was a job, but I mean, it was just...
It's a lifestyle, wasn't it?
It's a lifestyle, you see, and this is where I got my looks from. Anyway, but my grandfather, and I know for a fact he had a more expensive watch but I was gifted his watch, but I know he had for sure he had a more expensive watch than I inherited. But it's not about the value, right? For me, it's about what that watch tells me. That's my grandfather. My grandfather was a really, really, really big personality. He has an estate, a park named after him in the Netherlands. And there's a movie about him now. Incredible, right? And I wear that watch sometimes, and it just reminds me of my grandfather. Now, name me any object in the world that does that.
So there's a movie.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
What's the movie called?
Yeah, that is crazy.
Nico, N-I-C-O.
Oh,
I'm
so you've got
Nico
the same
third.
name as well.
Yeah, I'm Nico the third. So my grandfather's Nico, my father's Nico, I'm Nico, and my son that is born 2 months ago is also Nico the fourth. Yeah.
So we were actually having this conversation before coming down. Do you actually wind up your watches, or do you leave them?
He
not
spent
telling them?
ages doing it.
Yeah, it
today.
took me ages to wind it up and put it on the correct time. And I thought I better do it because I'm giving it to you to have a look
And
at.
can you change the date on his watch without going round and round and round and round and round?
Please tell me you can.
Is there a quicker way to do
Because he
it?
spent so long winding it to get the date right.
What's
going
wrong
through the
with
date.
you guys? You guys are barbarians. honestly. Yes, you can. There's a quick set date on
Right,
that.
okay.
So yes. And no, you don't
I
have to
did
wind
say
your
that.
watch. You
Yeah,
don't have to wind
just
your
leave
watch.
it without.
It's an automatic watch. What you see on the dial says Oyster Perpetual. You know what
Right, okay.
perpetual means?
What, perpetual motion?
Yeah, perpetual
The
motion.
thing is, I don't wear it all the time, so I put it in its box
It's
occasionally.
fine. And you just set it and you put it on your wrist and it works immediately.
Right. Okay.
It's a free floating rotor. Me no speak English. Rotor that winds up the movement.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
So you don't have to wind it.
But then is it wrong when I put it on then?
It's because it has a power reserve. So a spring has a power reserve,
Right.
depending on the size of the spring. But that watch is 72-hour power reserve. So 72 hours, if you don't wear it, then it stops. But that's the beauty of mechanical watches. And the funny thing is about manual watches, manual wound watches, which are existing, for example, the Omega Speedmaster, you literally have a connection with that watch because every bloody morning when you wake up, you wind it up.
Yeah.
And people love that. I love that.
Habit forming.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just a
it's great.
habit. And it's like waking up and making up your bed. Not that I do that, to be honest. But I mean,
You were
it's
saying
like that.
earlier that you do nothing but work.
I absolutely do nothing in the house. I don't even know how my coffee machine works. And it's not even a joke. You've seen it. I was
have
like,
seen
I
it.
needed help for my coffee machine. I do absolutely nothing other than work. I wake up, work. I come home. Now, now I'm a dad. I spend some time with the wee one, and then I'm immediately back in my office and doing work.
Where does that stem from?
It comes from the fact that I had nothing, and I'm that I need to be extremely grateful and extremely that grateful. I'm trying to find a different word, but I have to be extremely grateful that I am in the position where I am in, and that means that I will never waste a minute. I don't want that. I can't do that. I will disrespect every bit of success we've achieved with my team. So
With your team, do you find it hard to delegate because you're saying you like to work all the time? Is it hard to give up certain aspects of the business?
I've learned. I've in the beginning, yes, found it difficult, but now I'm a master at it.
Yeah, well, I think
Ask them. It's like, Keelan, can you do that? Johnny, can you do that? I'm a master at it.
But you get to a stage where you find that people are better at other things, don't
Yeah,
you?
100%.
And you go, look, you're just better at that. Please do that. Can you get on with that? Because you just nail it. And if I do any of that, it's a mess. So it's a natural thing in business, I think.
You wouldn't tell a surgeon how to perform a surgery, right? So that's how it works. And
Kai might watch a YouTube video on it and tell him.
Referring to the golf tips.
Yeah.
right, you were really good at golf, right? Or telling how to play golf, right? that was it, right?
roasted now.
The boys, the Jack behind the camera and his brother, they play golf. I play with them. So
But you teach them?
I pick up on what they're saying, and then when I see Curtis trying to use a putter like a driver, I have to say something. I can't
I'm like,
let him do that.
tell me when you can actually do it. That's when I'll listen.
But when you can see like a clear and obvious error though, and
But then I'm
I
beating you
can't
still.
not.
At the moment, I'm beating you.
But it is the nature of golf, isn't it, to try and help, unfortunately, and you do try and help. You've commented on quite a lot of celeb watches collections.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever worry about some of the backlash you might get on that?
Absolutely not. But recently, we actually got a lawsuit in for the first time. I can't specifically talk about it like in detail, but it was the piteous thing I've ever seen in my life. It wasn't even a big celeb. Like, that's the funny bit. But I need to be real. I need to be honest. And the way you see me on camera is the way I am in real life, but then on steroids, right?
Curtis, you looking forward to taking the podcast on the road to Dubai?
I sure am, Dad, especially now that I've got NordVPN installed.
That's a bit weird. What's NordVPN?
Glad you asked, Father. NordVPN is a virtual private network that keeps you and your data safe when browsing the internet.
But I'm always safe online. I never use any of those dodgy sites.
Well, old man, there are tons of ways scammers and hackers can access your data without you knowing, such as data attacks, ransomware, and even identity theft, to name a few.
So even when I'm using trusted sites, I'm still at risk.
Of course, Dad, even when we're on the go, accessing public Wi-Fi can make us vulnerable. But with NordVPN, your data is encrypted and protected.
That sounds amazing, son. Anything else?
Well, in Dubai, I've got some bad news for you. You ready for this?
Go on.
You won't be able to watch The Apprentice, which you absolutely love at the moment, don't you?
You mean I'm going to miss Who's Fired?
Well, actually, you don't have to. With NordVPN, you can set your location to England and watch it hassle-free.
Wow, that's great. But how do our viewers get to use NordVPN?
Strike It Big viewers can get a month's access completely free when they take out a 2-year plan, as well as a 30-day no-risk money-back guarantee. So there's really no reason not to download NordVPN and protect yourself online now. Just search nordvpn.com/Tilbury or use the link in the description below.
Back to the show.
If I can't be myself, it's pointless. And I am a bit outrageous, but it's good to be.
Are you worried
outrageous.
about the lawsuit at all?
No, absolutely not. No.
Can you say what you said about their watch? Or can you
No,
not
well,
Oh,
I
no,
might
I
give it
didn't say
away.
anything bad about the watch. I just said what the value was of the watch.
Oh, and they didn't like that.
So what did they say? It was more than it was.
Oh no, you put my family in danger now, and now you need to pay for my gate that I had to put up my house because
All
you
the
told me what to
security
tell.
cameras, it will never stop, will it?
Exactly. So like now you need to pay for my gate at my house, and I'm like, mate, your watch is nice, but it's wise up. There's a million watches that are 10 times more valuable and better than that.
Yeah. And
So how do you tell a good watch from a bad watch? That's the thing, because obviously you roast them on sometimes on a bad watch, and to me it might look a good watch. I don't know. How do you tell?
It's something like, you mean good from a fake? Real from a fake? Or?
Yeah, but sometimes you don't like their watches, period. I don't think you like the Bugatti watch, for example.
No,
do you?
or the Hublot watches.
And yet I've looked at that and I've gone, oh, I love that because I just love all that movement.
Aye, but that is like, the Bugatti watch is not a watch. That's more a piece of art. It's not a watch.
Okay.
Right? And it's art that I don't like.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
That's fair enough.
But
isn't
it's like, you need to compare the watch industry with the art, right? Sometimes you just don't like paintings. And for me, I'm a traditionalist. I am, as outrageous as I am, I'm very traditional in my watches. And that's my personal opinion. It doesn't mean that a watch is shit though. Although I do not very much like the Bugatti watch, but I mean, it is pretty damn sophisticated how they built that.
Yeah.
Right. And the funny bit is the movement maker of that Bugatti watch is, I got to know them in recent years because I'm working on a project with a watch which these guys built that movement for Jacob & Co.
So did they ever go at you when they met you? They're like, oh no, I put all this effort into this watch, and now you're
we
roasting it on
never spoken about it.
Oh really?
No, never.
Okay.
It's funny enough.
Yeah.
But thank you you're gonna clip it. You're gonna definitely clip
exactly.
this, put
We'll
it in
make
a
a
short,
clip out
goes viral, and then
That's the one. Yep.
Right? Yeah. All right. Thank you. Mate.
So yeah, no. Based on viral shorts, you've looked at loads of celebs collections.
Yeah.
What are the worst ones?
I mean, it speaks for itself, right? American rappers. I've never seen people.
They like their diamonds, don't they?
It's horrendous, mate. And people are like, diamonds are a girl best friend, right? Do you ever like a man that wears diamonds on a watch or diamond wrist? What do you call that? Fucking necklaces and
Yeah.
like,
And the stud.
and the stuff. Like, mate, wise up,
Yeah.
right? This is me being an extreme traditionalist. Maybe I'm just not understanding the next generation, but I will preach, and I will preach. I will not give up. Because first of all, if you have a nice, beautiful Rembrandt, right? Or name me a famous painter, I don't know.
Picasso.
Van Gogh.
Picasso. Oh yeah, there you go. Dutch painters. Like, if you don't like the fucking bridge, you're not putting you're not adjusting that, are you? I mean, it is what it is. You don't fuck with art. And it's the same with watches. You don't fuck with watches. You don't do that.
Yeah, we actually made a short, didn't we?
Yeah,
all
on
about-
icing out your
Yeah, I was
Rolex.
like, Dad, I'm going to ice out my Rolex. So don't
but-
do that, it'll lose the value.
Everyone was commenting about you.
The thing is, the reason why people do it is also the wrong reason. It's make them look rich, right?
Yeah, because people don't understand diamonds. Like, you see someone with a flooded watch and you just think, wow, that guy's
Well,
a millionaire.
yeah.
Because you don't understand how much they cost.
I wouldn't think that, but a
lot of
normal
people would,
person
though,
would
for
think the
sure.
same.
You'd
People
think
like,
he's ruined that watch,
People
wouldn't you?
will see a date just, flooded in diamonds and they'll think, whoa,
Oh,
that's
yeah, he
crazy.
must be a
They
billionaire.
don't understand, yeah. For sure.
it's just for show.
Yeah.
And it actually devalues the watch. The watch is worth less, and it's not that special, mate. Like, if you go to New York, Diamond District, you can buy a Datejust cheaper, iced out cheaper than a normal Datejust. And it's just flexing that flex
Becomes
culture.
just the value of the diamonds, I suppose, because you've ruined the asset.
The diamonds
underneath.
have no value
Yeah.
at all.
Well, then
Like,
there's
the
nothing
diamonds have
there.
no resale value. Check on eBay, you can buy an engagement ring for fucking hundreds, which has cost thousands.
If you could buy one watch for the rest of your life, this is the only one you're allowed to buy and keep forever.
Yeah.
What would it be? What brand?
Patek Philippe 5270, perpetual calendar chronograph,
We'll put it on the screen.
And how much would that be valued at the moment?
about 150k sterling.
But you wouldn't own it, would you?
Because you'd be passing it down.
This is what's wrong with the industry, right? This worked fucking 20 years ago. You never really own a Patek Philippe. You merely look after it for the next generation.
That's what I was getting you to pull out.
Exactly. I knew exactly what you were doing. But this is like a tagline that's been around for like 20, 30 years. It's done, right? It's pointless, right?
So why do you say that then? Because I think it sounds quite cool.
It
think
sounds
it's a good
quite cool,
message.
but like, I mean, we're now in a flex culture, mate. I mean, the Instagram generation, the next generation after us and the generation after that, they don't give a shit.
They're only worried about the flex, not the passing on.
Exactly.
So do you think generational wealth is kind of, that idea has just disappeared now?
Yeah.
It's more about here and now and flexing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean,
I think that's a shame.
it is. And as much as I love that tagline, which I think is one of the best marketing phrases I've ever heard in my life for an object in any way, shape, or form. There's also another one from IWC. It was like a watch is like a woman or something, but this one is on time. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and but there's something in that realm. But the brands nowadays are just completely lost. Watch brands are lost. They're out of touch with their actual customer base. Where Patek Philippe was a very formal watch brand. It was for doctors and really like the Warren Buffetts of this world, like really well-dressed businessman. And today it's for rappers and for crypto millionaires and for all sorts of dodgy people.
What's the most dangerous situation you've been in? Maybe selling a watch or even buying a watch?
Picking up 4 watches in Venezuela. So that was my dangerous situation, and someone was paid off or tipped off, and we were chased. And the car
You were chased?
Yeah, by car, and the car was shot. So with gunshots, and I've never heard a gun ever
So
shoot.
the car you were in took a bullet.
Yeah. So what is the full story? Because that just sounds crazy. So like,
Yeah, you're giving us the
were you
high-
driving?
the high-
Like,
No,
yeah,
like,
that
I
was the
mean-
high piece.
yeah.
What's
I
the
mean,
story?
You can cut a story short, but that's too short.
To be precise, I was on a holiday in Curaçao on a Dutch island. It's part of the Dutch kingdom. Curaçao, it's on the coastline of Venezuela, and I had to pick up 4 watches, right? And you got a wee fucking fisher's boat, because there's fisher's boats go up and down. But
Yeah.
the people in Venezuela, there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of poverty, etc., right? But we all got this organized with the team, and I was picking up 4 watches, 4 of these, right? And one of them was for a close friend of mine, right? This is actually carnage, right? Because I'll tell you that. So picked up the watches, all good. This was about an hour and a half drive from the village where we stepped off the boat, and then about 30 on the way back, on about 30 minutes away from our destination, we started being tailed. In the last 10 minutes, it was absolute carnage.
Did they
just-
see
could
the
you just tell?
handover then?
I don't know. No one knows. All of us, it was rush. And then we got into safety, because that harbor, there's police, there's all sorts of things. And although the police is corrupt as fuck there as well, but all of a sudden it was safe, and we just kept on driving.
So were you buying these watches from sort of a second-hand sort of area, or was it from a jeweler's?
It was the time where the Pepsi was introduced.
So that was their allocation, was it?
Aye.
So you've risked your life for watches.
And because the funny bit is, I promised a friend of mine, a very, very dear friend of mine, is a professional footballer, and a Pepsi at retail. And damn right, I was in the beginning of my business, because I always in my business overpromised and underdelivered. I was like, I'm never gonna let this guy down.
Passion
right?
over profits.
Exactly. I was just like, yeah, of course I can do that for you, whatever. But I literally didn't have the money. The business wasn't that well off, so I had to find it other ways. Now, watch was introduced, got 4 Pepsis, got a whole story, the car being shot, and got the watches back. Got back to Northern Ireland, flew in from Curaçao. There's a direct flight to Amsterdam to Northern Ireland. Got and met up with him. He says, "Yeah, but it's not a UK card. I don't want it."
No.
Really?
And I was
No
like,
way.
"You're an absolute." Like, I went fucking ape shit. That's funny. Like, gee, if you're watching,
So he never took the
I
watch.
never took the watch.
You
But-
nearly took a bullet, and he didn't take the watch.
Aye,
I was going to say it adds to the story of the watch. That's
Ah.
quite cool, isn't it?
Aye, it is quite cool. But in fairness, he was joking around. But he
Does
just
it make any difference?
no, it doesn't make any difference. But for him, it was more showing that I kept my promise. I kept my promise. I promised something. I kept my promise. He's like, fair play, and he just let me sell it and made more profit.
Yeah,
So-
that
No,
makes
so it
sense.
worked out better for you anyway. What did it work like in terms of payment? Because I know inflation and stuff is like through the roof there. So like, how would you pay for it? Is it their
It was
currency?
bank wire.
Oh, it's in dollars or pounds?
Yeah, so it's US dollars.
Yeah, fair enough. then.
Mostly it's done at US dollars there anyway.
So with the worst watches, I noticed you mentioned the US wrappers. How about the UK wrappers?
Oh, they're unbelievable. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
So why are they so unbelievable when the US wrappers make more money?
Way more
no,
money.
but now
as
you're
well.
asking an obvious question, right? Put an American next to a British person who has more taste.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right,
I thought you were
right.
going to say intelligence. I wasn't. I wasn't too sure.
I'm
That as
joking,
well.
my American friends. I love you. No, it was, of course, a joke, but I think it's culture, right? It's just got to do with culture, flicks, diamonds, whatever. And you know what? There's a place for everything, and there's a place for that. It's just something that like, that's not good. And for me, I'm here to educate and entertain, and I like to educate via entertainment. So
yeah. Well,
that is-
on that point, some people would say you've revolutionized the watch game. I'll try that again. On that point,
can you say that again?
It's
I'm
easy
cutting
for
it.
him to say.
Revolutionize. Okay.
Can we cut this? Can I?
We will cut it. Yeah.
I can't frame it as a video. I mean,
So on that point, some people will say you've completely changed the watch game.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Almost revolutionized it.
Yeah, almost.
I don't realize it. You're not the first person to say that, and it humbles me and it makes me emotional, because that was a dream of me from when I started, from when I was young. I never had the possibility to buy watches of that magnitude. Don't really come from money in that way, shape, or form. I never thought I was going to have my own business. Well, I always wanted that. It makes me very proud. But it's not just me, you know, it's my entire team, because I'm just a guy in front of a camera. I don't work. I have fun. You see what I mean? I have the best job in the world. And it's not just YouTube, it's the watch game, right? So for that, I mean, that's just really special to hear. The thing is, getting to that point is one thing. Staying there, that's the second. And for me, that is the most important thing where we're working on now, is like, how can we use our platform, something that we've created, for the good of the industry.
So as I understand it, you started with a small loan of about
it's just a bank loan,
£20,000.
20,000 euros. Yeah, AIB Bank.
And who gave you that? Or well, why
Was
did
the
they
bank.
give you that?
So I was working in the south of Ireland, right? So I was working in Carrickmines, and I lived in Banbridge, County Down. Doesn't mean nothing to you or anyone, but let me tell you, that's a fucking hell of a drive, right? It's a 2-hour drive, one way. And I'd done that for 4 years. And I was just so miserable. I was done with life. And in general, I was just out for if this is life, I'm out, right? Every day in the car to make, 35, 40K. There's nothing wrong with that, saving a few quid, but it was just, I wasn't happy. And I don't have any qualifications. So what was my next job going to be? It's going to be equally as shit, right? So I was in a point in life where it's like, I can't do this shit anymore. I just can't. I don't want to do this anymore. And funny enough, it was actually Gary Vaynerchuk that said something and I followed that. And I saw some Dutch kid talking about watches. I'm like, watches is my biggest passion. Like, that's what I love so much. So why the fuck am I not doing that? And I was already fixing as a side hustle, because this is the thing, right? I left home every day at fucking 6 a.m. to be in the office at 8, to be then going home at 5:30, being home at, say, about 7:30, 8, right? And then I was fixing watches or replacing batteries and stuff. So I was already there. And now it was just time to start fucking getting my shit together and take a risk for once in my life.
So how did people trust you then? Because, these watches are big amounts of money. Even then, they would have been reasonably big amounts of money.
The funny bit is that is the where you're saying trust. That's the big point, right? Because that's what I struggled in the beginning. Because basically I was just an expensive looky man, right? Yeah, it is what it is. Because I didn't have a shop and I was selling watches out of in my car. So for me to gain trust, I had to be surrounded by people that are trustworthy. And this is where I got a lot of support from people in the local community. The guy that I bought my suits off helped me out and got me in touch with his customers, which are still my friends. My first ever client is still one of my close friends. And that's how I build it up. And using Instagram, and I still have my first video, and it's embarrassing as fuck. At first, my first ever video I done on Instagram, because I saw I was posting photos and it wasn't working. I wasn't getting any traction, and I just spent 20,000 euros on some watches.
Well, this community is obviously very important to you, because obviously you're a Dutch guy.
Yeah.
You've moved over to Ireland and you've built this community up. I mean, that must mean the world to you.
For me, if I started my business in any other country than Northern Ireland, I would have failed, because the support I got from everyone here got me to where I am today, right? Trusting someone with Rolexes, right? A guy that is not even from here. Who is this guy? And still give me the trust and buy a watch. They literally changed my life. The support I got from the people, the referrals, I always ask for referrals. And the support I got is just it's mega. I can't even describe to you how much that meant to me.
We had a similar situation, really, because I had a dominating manager in the line of work I was in, and he was making my life hell, shall we say. You know, I was doing jobs repetitive time after time that a
Making
machine
trash
would do
cans,
now.
wasn't it?
Yeah. And
Trash.
it was awful. I mean, really awful. But sometimes you can't see a future beyond it, which is really hard. And I made the point, and I think you did a similar thing, went up, resigned, there it is, I'm off.
Aye, exactly.
It takes a lot to do it, doesn't it?
You can only connect the dots looking backwards.
I love that.
Steve
Jobs.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, brilliant, isn't it?
But Mark, it was either I'm gonna resign or I was gonna fucking do something else.
Yeah.
In a bad way, if you know what I mean. And it was just like, this is not life. This is not. I wasn't happy. I changed everything, right? Everything, mate. My relationship done. I was just like, my whole life is now just gonna focus on one thing only.
Did you find that hard to give up a relationship that obviously was doing
Yeah,
well?
that was I was engaged in all sorts, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that was the biggest sacrifices, but you need to sacrifice everything. And the thing is people just do this, right? Side hustle and whatever. They always have this safety net, right? And then, hopefully it will kick off. Mate, let me tell you one thing. It will not fucking kick off if you have a safety net, right? So stop wasting your time, right? Stop wasting your fucking time, right?
See,
That's what I always said to Dad.
I have a safety net. I've always believed in a safety net.
But you
there
didn't
is
early on.
No, but there is the difference with my safety net is I can't access my safety net. All right. So it's not like I can go, oh, I'm safe if I stop working tomorrow because I can access that. I can't access. Well, I can now. I'm 55, so I can access it. But I was literally hammering away money so that I knew at one point in my life, regardless of what happened, I was okay.
I know what you mean, right?
Yeah.
But that's completely different with what I mean, right? People want to start their business, but they do that simultaneously when they have a normal job, right? And then hope it kicks off. It doesn't work like that.
I did
right?
that.
You've got to go all in at some point.
You need to get yourself in a situation where you have no return, right? There's only one thing. Either you're gonna fucking die or this is gonna be a success. It's either one of them. And I was in that situation. And let me tell you one thing. If you're in that situation, that's how you're gonna get to know yourself really. And that's when you get to really push yourself to the next level. And that's where I was at. I didn't have any money. I didn't have nothing. And I stood up as I'm like, I can't fail here. I'm not allowed to fail, because if I fail, everything goes to shit. I sacrificed my engagement. I was supposed to get married, this, that, everything. It was bizarre.
So do you not believe in side hustles as a whole, or do you think they're good for developing your skill set early on?
That's it. But say you wanna build a candle company, right? Making candles, and you're at home, you're making candles and you sell it online, and you don't give it your all, right? When you start a business, you need to absolutely 100% give it absolutely everything you have, because that's also what your future customers deserve.
And I think it's also overcoming that hurdle in your mind, like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it. Because if you're thinking that, you can't put 100%
It's
in.
difficult, but you know what? Luckily, I have still the other job, right? That needs to be off the cards. That shouldn't be an option. And that's where you need to put yourself in that situation where you have no return. You can't go back to the previous job, so you better make this fucking work.
So talking about extremes, what's the craziest thing you've done to get a deal?
Now getting shot was pretty crazy, mate. I mean,
Yeah, but I'm looking for another story here.
I've done some crazy shit in my life. Like, I mean,
Do Rolex actually put a certain number into each country, and is that the reason
Yes.
you would go to those countries to try and?
he wasn't
secure
allowed.
them?
He wasn't really at the time. It was a bit different, right? In 2018, 19 was a bit different. But nowadays there's an allocation in every country, and even in Northern Ireland, right? So an authorized dealer that is in one city. There's only one authorized dealer nowadays, but to give you an idea, an authorized dealer in one city is not allowed to really drive towards another city and deliver a watch to a client in Belfast, for example. This is how a dealership in Northern Ireland lost their Rolex dealership.
Would they sell you a watch?
No chance. They all think I flip it. And fair play in the beginning, maybe I would, but
But you're allowed a personal collection,
yeah,
surely.
but they don't want to sell me a watch, but it's fine. It's fine. Whatever. Whenever the market, which the market is heading now, where watches are going to be broadly available, They're going to call me. Oh, you want to buy this watch? And then it's too late. Then they could go fuck themselves.
So do you think they're going to come available?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is the thing. The last 3 years, watch brands have mistreated their customers massively. And this is not only the theft and the danger in the watch industry by wearing a watch, it's dangerous. The fact that watch brands don't have a clue about marketing. And the fact that authorized dealers have mistreated their customers for years. I mean, that's gone massively.
I actually went into an AD. I told him what I did for a living. He said, "Oh, I actually know Mark Tilbury. Yeah, I follow him on TikTok." Still wouldn't sell me a watch.
No.
He can make the decision though. He was the guy working in the shop.
I know, but
In
I'm
a-
sure he can have a word or at least just do something. There must be some. So it must mean something.
All right, in a way, I understand because you want to sell watches to your best customers. I understand that, but the way they go about it is wrong. The way you need to buy jewelry, you need to do this,
Yeah,
and
I
then
don't want it.
maybe I consider you to fuck off. I work my ass off for that money, and you need to be grateful that I'm willing to spend that money, right? So. It's just not fair. And the thing is, we can learn from, for example, the Champions League tickets or World Cup. Like, I mean, it's all being done fairly, right? And there's more demand for the Champions League final tickets than there's tickets available. You see what I mean? So
So do you think people like Rolex will up their game or sort of up their production, or do you think they're dead
they're up in
set?
their production.
And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a very, very good thing.
Yeah, because I want one badly, but I want to get it from an AD.
Yeah, but that's fine. So that will be available in the next couple of years. Yeah. So I think it's a good thing.
And they were set on what, 1 million watches a year for
People
quite a
say,
long time?
No one knows, but
Okay.
that's an estimate.
Will that drop the value of the existing
Yes.
watches on the market?
Yes.
So it's not a good thing for investors.
No, but I don't look at it from an investment point of view. I look at this from a, first of all, a reseller, second of all, a enthusiast. And from an investment point of view, yeah.
Because the reseller's profit percentage has got to be the same anyway. Okay, the amount's less, but the percentage is going to be similar when you resell a watch.
Yeah.
Is the wait list actually a thing? No. So how does that work?
Yeah, because I'm on it, apparently.
No, I guess not.
No, but you know what the thing is? If you haven't had a call within 2 weeks, you're just not
I
qualified
saw you
enough.
say that on social media the other day.
Right, that's what it is.
They offered you a
They'll
two-tone.
research you, check. Yeah, they did offer me a two-tone.
So
It's
you should have,
shit, though.
the fact you said no means
I know I couldn't bring myself to pay 11 grand for this. It was just horrible.
exactly, that means you're not qualified for the brand.
Mm.
If you don't play their game, they won't play yours. And that's the thing. And this is what's wrong with the industry, guys. It should be, if you want something, and you like Rolex was more seen as an achievement rather than a timekeeping device.
I got a call back within 2 weeks, but
Yeah, right.
I'd already bought what I wanted, so it didn't matter. I went to a reseller.
But he was after a women's watch.
Yeah, why
though.
is the women's watch market not anywhere near the guys?
Because a watch is a man's accessory. A watch is just man. Like, I mean, it to be fair, the wristlets, which were watches called prior to that, were really feminine, right? So the watch was actually for women.
Yeah, didn't men used to have the one that went in their
Pocket
pocket?
watch.
Pocket watch,
Exactly.
yeah.
That was for the man. But a lot of, like, to give you an idea, when we start to learn how to fly airplanes, and these cool pilots were wearing these watches. I mean, that's where it really became a man thing. You see what I mean? And this is why pilot watches are such a big deal, because that's actually where it started.
So could you rank the best 5 brands?
Best is difficult because where do you measure
That's why I'm
best?
asking you. You're the expert.
Yeah, your
what-
opinion.
Yeah, how do you measure best? Best timekeeper? Best...
Well, a lot of them aren't best timekeepers, are
No,
they?
exactly.
But I would say, in terms of brands and
If
how
you
they're
were doing-
perceived.
If you were doing a tier list video,
Yeah.
how would you rank them?
So I do every year a tier list video based on what the brand has done that year. They're very, very popular, to be fair. But this is going to be a different type of tier list for me. And I'll start on the top because I find it more comfortable. We wouldn't have the industry today if it wasn't for Rolex. Rolex and Hans Wilsdorf, the founder of Rolex, done influencer marketing in the 50s. Right?
Yeah.
Or in the not in the 50s, in the 20s in 1926 with Mercedes Glides, right? I mean, the first waterproof watch, well, it wasn't the first waterproof watch, but It's the first publicly known waterproof watch, the first automatic watch with a date. I mean, it wasn't the first automatic watch with a date, but
they
as far as
marketed
they
in
were
that way,
concerned.
you
Yeah,
see what I
yeah.
mean? So it's influencer marketing. They're genius.
And it's a relatively new watch brand, isn't it?
yeah, 19.
So why has it become so popular? Is
And,
it this
and
marketing?
UK based originally.
Yeah, London. They moved in 1919 to Switzerland. Yeah, they were actually in Hatton Gardens of all places. Like, I mean, that's
You wouldn't want to wear one now, would you? Then
fucking hell, mate.
So how's their strategy like propelled them to the top, even though they are relatively new in the
Hans
game?
Wilsdorf, visionary, mate, and like he was miles ahead, light years ahead of anyone else. Like, I mean, it's bizarre.
But it's sponsorships, isn't it? Because I always knew of Rolex, probably from Wimbledon or from Formula One. But I've got a soft spot, and you're going to say rubbish watch, no doubt, for a Tag as well. But purely because I used to follow McLaren so much, and it was always their watch
This
brand.
is actually genius marketing, right? Because Tag, you say Tag, you don't say Tag Heuer, you don't say Heuer. But Tag was only introduced in 1985
There you go.
because it was Heuer. It was Heuer, the watch brand Heuer. And then the Tag group bought Heuer, and all of a sudden became Tag Heuer. And you come up with Tag. It's fucking genius marketing. They've done an incredible job. Like today, their watches are, no offense, right? But some of their watches, right? Some of their watches are priced correctly. Other watches are absolutely dog shit. And the way they tried to milk the Monaco, it's actually quite embarrassing, to be honest. And I know Tag Heuer follows what I say, and I got not a phone call, but indirectly, they were heartbroken what I said about the.
So you got to
Monaco
choose your
before.
words carefully.
No, I'm not. I don't give a shit. So it's. Like,
I didn't think you would.
no, I don't give a shit, right? And listen, see it as constructive criticism. Stop milking the fucking Monaco and come up with some creative stuff, which they tried to do with the Mario Kart, but they made 2 Mario Kart watches. One in like an F1 shit. It's an automatic watch, right? And they sell it for about $3,500, and then one with a $4,000 could be. One with a tourbillon. A Mario Kart watch with a tourbillon. Selling $4,000 more, asking $4,000 more than the standard tourbillon. What the fuck? It's exactly the same watch. I mean, it just blows my mind, right? How's the stupidity?
Do you think they'd have to pay to associate it with Mario Kart?
No.
Or maybe no.
No, yeah, maybe, but not that much.
I just
This
can't
is-
even picture what this watch looks like.
No, it's fucked up, mate.
We'll
It's fucked up.
flash it up for you
But
guys.
listen, they're heading towards the right direction, right? Which is good. And you know what? Tag Heuer is speaking the language for the next generation. And that is brilliant. So they're doing that well. But like what I say, and a lot of the things what I say, I say it quite
Yeah, how it is.
how it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes watch brands get offended. And I'm like, exactly. If you get offended, that's the problem, right? Because you don't see the underlying constructive criticism here. Because if we don't fix what's going on and what's about to hit us, we're going to go into another crisis with the watch world. Jean-Claude Biver, right? Genius man, was once upon a time the CEO of Hublot. When Hublot was absolutely dog shit. It's still dog shit, but I mean, when no one
levels
knew
of
about
dog
it,
shit by
right?
the
There's
sounds
the
of it.
levels of-
With the amount you talk about Hublot, surely they've come after you in some way. or
no,
another.
absolutely not. I think it's fucking free.
Do you ever
marketing
worry
for
that
them.
they'll sue you?
No.
Because you do violate them on social media.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I know they've tried to do cease and desist before, but never with me. And for that, I give them props, right? But other than that, I also give them props for the fact that they speak the language for the next generation. Let me tell you one thing, right? A younger generation today, right, will grow up. Okay, they will know me talking shit about Hublot, but they'll also grow up seeing their football heroes and like wearing Hublot. It's very, very, very good. Marketing is brilliant, but I see it from a different perspective. I don't see it from a marketing point of view. I see it from a craftsmanship point of view. And I don't think it's in any way, shape, or form value for money. And that's what my big point is, right? If we don't fix what's going on in the watch world, we're gonna have a problem. And like I said before, Jean-Claude Biver, he was the CEO he started his career in AP, then moved to Omega, bought Blancpain, bought the name Blancpain, and started the company. Sold that for a good amount of money. Was previously CEO of Tag Heuer, previously CEO of Hublot. He once said, right, it's a fight for someone's wrist. So that's what the watch game is. The watch industry is fighting for someone's wrist.
And they're doing it in different ways.
And
Some through marketing, some through craftsmanship.
But this fight for someone's wrist is going to be pointless if you don't know how to fight.
So you mentioned Omega there, 007 springs to mind.
Yeah.
What's your thought on their watches?
Listen, Speedmaster, iconic, but the same as Hublot, fucking milking it to the moon. And like, I think there's not a watch in the world that is more fucking special and limited editions than Speedmaster. Why the fuck would someone then buy a Speedmaster? There's no point.
So if we stick with like top three, because we got Rolex.
So
at the top.
Rolex, 100% for what they've achieved and what they've done in the industry. Audemars Piguet for me, 100%. Audemars Piguet, innovative in some of the things they do, right? But just really speaking the language of the next generation, right? Really being cool, right? Basically, everyone can afford a Rolex, right? Everyone that's watching this right now can afford a Rolex. Let me tell you, you can. You need to save up a few quid, some way, shape, or form. AP, different story, right?
What's the entry level price for an AP?
50 grand.
20
maybe?
grand,
Oh.
20, 25 grand. Like, I mean, and they're so, they're so cool. I love it. I absolutely love it. And then people always said that Audemars Piguet is a very one-dimensional watch brand, which if you look at this from that perspective, it is. They only had the Royal Oak. But bringing out a Code 1159 was a daring move, and everyone slagged it off. But I'm like, that's actually very, very good, because there's never a good time to innovate. You're always going to get backlash, but it's going to be in 20 years, that watch is still going to be there. And that's going to be a driver for the brand itself. So I'm really respect that.
Yeah, so Rolex is really sort of like, I can want one, so I can have one. And AP is more sort of like a considered purchase.
Exactly. Richard Mille, how they've came in the market, how Richard Mille himself.
So was
Again,
that third Richard Mille?
Yeah.
And McLaren as well comes to mind there, isn't it? Because they sponsor
I don't think
them.
I don't think it's a very good association with
Really?
a car that always falls apart. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not the best of British engineering, may I add. Says a McLaren owner. Yeah.
I like McLaren. I've got a soft spot for McLaren.
Yeah, it's the British, but I mean, if they were American,
They're all British though, aren't they? All the Formula One teams really, apart from I suppose Ferrari. But anyway, we're digressing too much. So Richard Mille, tell us about Richard Mille.
Innovative, extremely innovative. Like, it's the only hyper watch brand in the world, and everyone is trying to copy it, but no one can even touch it.
Do you like how they look though? Because
I
I'm
was
not,
about to
I'm
say
not
that.
too
Some of them,
sure
some of
about
them.
it.
Let me tell you one thing. When I put a Richard Mille on my wrist, I talk different, mate. It's like I'm putting a fucking Superman suit on, and
Does
I
it make
feel
you
I get
younger?
superpowers.
Is it the way they're perceived or the actual design of the watch themselves?
It's just it's just when you put it's magic. I don't know how they do it. You put it on your wrist and it's just bizarre. All of a sudden I walk different. I talk different.
Do people treat you different?
Yes. Yeah.
The people that know.
Mad.
Can you imagine how massive it would look on my wrist? It would be like,
No, I think an RM67 would be absolutely perfect on your wrist.
And how much would that set him back?
About, depending which one, but about 160.
Oh,
No,
you could do that, couldn't you?
Yeah, you've had a good year, haven't you?
a few more
Hey,
years.
what the fuck are we doing, right? Talking about a fucking 160 grand watch like it's fucking nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't even need that thing. You see what I mean? That's how a remarkable. This is a spark of marketing genius. This is how much potential there still is left in a watch world. But if the watch world is not fixing that, we're in trouble.
160 grand is not nothing to me, for the record. Just for the record.
How about Patek? Because you haven't mentioned them yet.
Because as much as I love Patek and as much as I think they're incredible, they're not speaking the language of the next generation, mate. Who gives a shit?
See,
Let
I
me tell
want
you
a
one
Patek
thing.
next. That's the one I want to get.
Right, but you want a Nautilus, you want an Aquanaut, right?
Yeah, I want one with like a leather strap, an older looking watch.
Yeah, but a 5270 perpetual calendar with chronograph. That's where the watch brands
Yeah,
make
you
their
know
money.
what that one is.
Yeah, I'm not an expert, so I don't know exactly.
But that's where the watch brands make their money, not with that fucking Nautilus for 20 grand, mate. That's not where they make their money. A watch brand makes its money when they sell watches that are highly complicated watches. Right? That's where you make money. And who wants a fucking perpetual who wants a minute repeater? If like this is the thing. The brands are not explaining the importance. It's just so frustrating for me to see that, because that's how a watch brand survives, of these highly sophisticated, extreme, beautiful magic machines that is actually all done with gears and levers and springs and all put together with small screws. I mean, it's fucking mad.
And I think you're going some way to educate the population on watches and exactly what they should be looking for, which is great.
Yeah.
You got one there that you want to show us. I think
Oh,
it's
I've
time.
forgotten about
I think
it.
it's time to have a look.
Aye.
So do you want to explain what's in the case and show us?
It's
Obviously,
a watch, mate.
yeah. So
watch.
I
Just
kind
the
of
watch.
guessed that.
Just
yeah.
a watch.
Yeah.
Not any watch though. I bet.
Oh, mate, I need to lose weight. Jesus Christ.
It's all that good living.
No, I couldn't even see. Never mind. That's not a conversation for now. Tried to shave myself. Couldn't see what I was doing. Sorry.
All right, here we go. This is our Easter egg of the podcast
I
coming
love
up.
that watch. Yeah, that's unbelievable.
I don't even want to.
So while we have a look, do you want to explain to the audience?
What you see here is a piece unique based on the 25th anniversary of the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. What you've noticed on this watch is that it doesn't have a crown. And the absence of a crown gives the absolute pure form of symmetry of a watch. When you have that watch on your wrist and you look at it, it's like, just wow, right? It blows you away.
So how do you set it if it doesn't have a crown?
The crown's on the case back,
Right. Okay.
right? And if you look at the Tourbillon, the
I
company,
shouldn't say this, should I? It's a weighty watch.
it's a weighty
But
watch.
it is a weighty
Oh,
watch.
it is. It is.
You'll have a longer arm at the end of the day wearing this, wouldn't you?
It's good. That's why I wear it on the right.
Absolutely phenomenal.
I'm saying nothing here.
You said enough. So this is made of...
Platinum, full platinum.
There you go. Do you want to pass it back?
there you go.
I'm literally scared.
And we're going to get to the value as well of this watch. Because you told me earlier, and I had to give it back quickly because I didn't want to drop it.
Yeah,
Val-
it's worrying.
Like the value is a bit. I can ask whatever I want, right? And with the 5711 Tiffany color being so massively, people paying £3 million for a 5711 Tiffany,
3 million.
where there's 170 of with that same color of a brand of a watch. That's not that special. If I look at this, I mean, that's remarkable. That's 7 figures. That's 7 figures right there. Next to that, it's the importance as well. The fact that it's a piece unique, which is described as a piece unique, as well that it has its own reference number, which you don't really see very much.
So I know it's not for sale. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's take that as read.
Yeah.
If I got my suitcase out my car with 10 million euros in it,
Yeah,
Or dollars.
I'll pack it up for you, and you can have it.
there you go.
Right?
How did you get this?
Like, because I'm so integrated in the watch world and I'm connected to the biggest collectors in the world, but not just collectors, like famous people or watchmakers or stuff like that. I heard of the existence of this watch. Then all of a sudden you're going to go on the hunt for that watch. Phone call after phone call, month after month, week after. Then you find that watch and you know who owns it. Then I remember that I reached out for the first time to this person. Didn't want to sell it, obviously. Now, a 2.5 year process it took me to convince someone to sell me that watch. And then I needed to find the money because I didn't have the money, right? Then all of a sudden it locked down. Fuck, right? Finally still agreed on that watch. I can't collect it. He's going to change his mind. We're all fucked here. That was problematic. Jumped in the car and just fucking drove.
So you broke lockdown rules.
Yes.
I suppose it's for business, so it's allowed.
Yeah, true.
Wasn't, yeah.
You can say it is.
Yeah.
But you remind me a little bit of Tom Hartley there, because we interviewed him recently about buying prestige cars, which is a similar thing to buying and selling watches. You know who's got those watches you want.
Yeah.
You've done that homework to know where they are. You know what they're worth. You know they might come to you to sell them. And if they do, you're going to say, yes, there's the money. I'm having it today. And they know you're going to do it today. So that's a lot of work to get to that stage.
To give you an idea, I've been looking for George Daniels' watch. So George Daniels allegedly made 36 watches. George Daniels is known as the best watchmaker this world has ever seen. It was a British national. He was a resident of the Isle of Man, right? And this week I done an interview. I've been looking for a George Daniel, mate, for God knows how many years, right? From way before I even started my business, but that I always wanted to hold one and see one, and never would I be able to afford one at the time, but I mean, I've been looking for one. I've done a live radio interview when this was 2 days ago. And I knew for a fact there were 1 or 2 George Daniels on the island of Ireland. Someone apparently, I'm working on this, right? Because that's what the phone call was earlier. Someone apparently called in and said, they have one. They actually own one. And it was a generational thing. I'm like,
give me your address.
right? This has been a hunt. Like, this is the beauty of my job, right? Other than selling watches in the shop and advising people and doing YouTube, it's incredible. But it's like treasure hunt. I've been looking for that for years.
It's like the quest for the Holy Grail.
Exactly. Now, if that is true, mate, I'll fucking drop everything. I need to go to America tomorrow, but I will be cancelled if I can get my, like, if this is true, because that's a find of a century.
What would it cost?
Over $1 million. Yeah, and people wouldn't even know. This is the thing where education is very important, right? This is years ago, and this is one thing, if you do good, you get good back, right? And this is how I went through in my business. Someone offered me a beaten up Submariner, and he called me, a Dublin resident, called me, and that was at the time where I just opened a shop, and it was just myself in the shop. No, he actually wanted me to make an offer, and I was like, okay, what are you looking? Now I already have an offer of €5,000. He didn't know how mobile phones worked and whatever, but I was like, €5,000, fucking right. Watch was going for 7. I'll drive to Dublin anyway. If I can buy it for 5.5 and make 1,500 quid in a day. Brilliant, right? Drove to Dublin. I got a heart attack. I just got a fucking heart attack there. It was a military issued Rolex Submariner. And I was like, mate, that watch is not $5,000. That watch is, we sold it for 6 figures, right?
So that's good of you for actually telling him rather than taking advantage.
If you do good, you get good
crazy.
back, right?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, the gentleman is not with us anymore. It was an older guy, and his grandson reached out to me, and was just really grateful because that money actually paid for the funeral and some other things, and the grandchildren got some money and stuff like that. But that watch, mate, like military issued Rolex Submariner, just fucking out of the blue, and I was like, what? Unbelievable. Like,
so from a photo and from videos as well, how do you tell if a watch is fake or real?
oh, you just see it, right?
Because he told even
If you're
that
going
so
on
fast,
TikTok,
like-
right? If you go on TikTok, you see a woman, you can recognize, you see immediately if it's real or fake tits. At least I do. But you need to have experience with
They're just
it,
too
right?
perky, aren't they?
Exactly. You need to have experience with it, right?
It's all about experience.
Exactly. I've seen so many tits in my life.
Some hands on it.
Exactly. But
True hands-on experience.
But it's like that. It's just like I've had so many watches in my hands and I've had so many tits in my hands. I'm just like
Good with both.
good with both, you know.
Yeah,
You see it from
fair
10
enough.
miles away, right?
So another popular collector's asset is Pokemon cards on YouTube. What's your opinion on those? And do you think they hold their value over
It's
time?
absolutely breaking my heart, you know. You know, there's actually a story with this. My grandfather, done very well in life, whatever, right? He had a coin collection with really rare coins, right? It's actually, I've never publicly said this, and if my father hears this, he'll be fuming again, right? I sold his coins piece by piece to buy Pokemon cards. Guess, I had Charizard double, I had this, all the fucking rare shit that's now worth a fortune. When my father figured out what I'd done, I've never seen my father as angry in my life, right? Never.
And this is before they were worth quite what they were.
Oh,
now.
mate, I was fucking 15, 16, mate, 14, whatever, that age. When he figured it out, he grabbed all my cards, and I remember, and he let me watch it. He just grabbed it all and put it on fire.
Does he
Right,
know
to
what
the
he's done
garden.
now, though? Does he know the value of those cards?
No, he doesn't know.
Oh, my life.
But it's funny. I would actually want to confront him with that. So, like, you know what you done
We'll
there?
make a clip and then you can send it to him.
I'll send it. But
But
these
the thing
Pokemon
is,
cards were now 100% worth more than any of that coin collection
But
ever.
would you have them now, though, realistically? You probably would have sold them on or passed them on
You
at
don't
some
know
point.
that stuff. You
Yeah,
don't
that's
know
the
that
trouble, isn't it?
You know, the thing is, you never know that about watches either. And people buying watches, investments and stuff like that. Let me be very clear here. And I'm probably the only person in the industry that says this. And I have no business saying this, right? Because I sell watches. But let me tell you one thing. Watches increasing in price, it's not going to happen in the next 5 years, right? It's not going to happen in the next 5 years. However, if you buy something at retail, yes, they have outperformed gold and whatever, but that extreme value, it's not going to happen.
How about like vintage pieces? Though?
Yeah, but that is because it's not being produced anymore. Every day it's passing, there's less available, right? But that demand is still there, and the demand will always be there. So that's always very good, right? And that's completely different than having a Pepsi, and because there's fucking hundreds of thousands of these.
Yeah. And I'm never going to sell this anyway,
No.
so it's not a big deal to me.
But like for me, say, like I hear there's people trying to sell watches. The market will go back up. Stop listening to that fucking bullshit. Market won't go up. Definitely not for high pieces. For pieces like this, yes. For extremely rare pieces, like what I'm wearing, yes. But Pepsis and Submariners and like, it won't go down either, really.
So it's a store of value. Buy
It's just a store of value.
Buy it because you like
It's
it.
a good hedge. It's a very, very good hedge.
So if someone wanted to make a good investment now, what kind of piece would they have to buy to make a good return?
Like people say this, and a good investment underneath £1,000 or $1,000. Like stop buying watches, start buying books. Right? Buy a book, read yourself, educate yourself about watches. That's what I would say, right? Don't buy a watch under 1,000. If you want to make an investment as a watch guy, 6 figures. That's where you start. You buy stuff that's not available. You buy stuff that is not in production. You buy stuff that like a rare piece of art from a painter. You just need to approach that. But an AP Royal Oak 15500, mate, there's hundreds of them, thousands of them. There's tens or hundreds of thousands of them. That's never going to be rare, mate. Yeah, maybe in 600 years, but like, I mean, if I live for another 600 years, it will be incredible. That watch is not rare. Will never be rare. So don't buy that. Don't buy a Pepsi or something. If you want to park some money in it, brilliant, right? And if you buy it at retail or if you pay 12.5 for a Submariner, you're always safe. You're never going to lose money on that. But investment is not about not losing money. Investment is about making money.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you've got the biggest pre-loved watch reselling business in Ireland. How far do you want to take this thing? Do you want to go national?
We are the first ever sole watch trading business on the island of Ireland. We're the first ever dedicated watch boutique on the island of Ireland. We're the biggest on the island of Ireland. And yes, I want to take this further, but I need to be ready for that as well, right? And of course, I can open another shop. And I could go to Manchester, I can go to London and whatever. But that's not really adding value, right? Because we're only gonna get extra cost, right? Because the customers still know who we are, right? If I'm sure to say that a lot of people that buy Rolexes on a regular basis, I mean, maybe once in 6 months, have heard of my company or have heard of my name, which is already a strength on its own, right? So for me to go into an opening store after store, that's only liabilities. I'm very, very careful with how I expand.
What is the most expensive watch you've ever sold then? Because that's
the funny bit is I've said this on a podcast once, right? And the buyer at that moment, because it's such a small world where like it's a really, really small world when you play in that league, right? He contacted me and says, please don't ever name what brand it is. So, but if you really want to know, you can look it up somewhere in a podcast. But I promise to not say what brand it is. But the most expensive transaction I've ever done was $7 million.
That's why you'd have taken 10 off me then.
See what I mean? I need to eat somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to eat somehow. Fucking hell, mate. You see? But that was bizarre. Right.
Can you tell us any details around the story of it? Not necessarily the model, but how did that come about?
Because that is crazy money.
Yeah, but it's just you meet people at auction houses that are looking for a specific watch that they missed out on an auction for, or they're around auction houses basically.
Okay.
And these people are buyers.
And of
Real
pocket
buyers.
watches, just we didn't have this in the discussion before. Have they sort of lost their value entirely, or are they also on an increase?
For someone collects food stamps or post things, right? People collect the weirdest things, dildos, whatever, right?
You've got quite an impressive one.
Yeah.
An impressive collection, maybe.
Ooh. You wee dirty whore, you. Oh, you'll love it. You're jealous, aren't you? We'll do that after the podcast, mate. Don't you worry. Right.
He was saying how big it was, but
Well, yeah,
That's average for
not
Mark,
good.
mate.
it's quite impressive. Yeah.
Now, Mark, let me tell you one
that
thing.
says a lot to some people and not to others, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Right. We'll show it. Oh no, we can't. No.
Right, should we move on to
Yeah.
the
Yes, I
London
think we
Watch Show? We heard that there was some carnage that went down there. Some watches got stolen.
Yeah.
What do you think about all of that?
I think it was very badly organized. I think it was badly picked up. I absolutely feel for Jonathan, Edinburgh Watch Company. He got it. There, some things have been resolved, but there were watches in there that money can't replace, right? And that broke my heart. And Jonathan is the nicest guy in our industry, like genuinely, and he got fucked over like that. Problem, mistakes, everything can happen. How you fix that problem, that shows
I
your
literally
true
said
worth.
that in a restaurant
We said that
night.
last night. Literally said that. Like, we got really bad service at one point, but they managed to turn it around.
Aye.
And it's how people react, isn't it?
Aye. And how that was how people reacted, of how the organization at the time reacted was detrimental to the London Watch Show. And they tried to organize another one, and all of a sudden, because of the market going down, bollocks excuses, we can't organize it, or we're not going to go ahead with it. But now comes the thing. This is again showing how bad the organization was. The people that actually bought tickets didn't know that, and some of them were standing in the door at the door when there was no London Watch Show. This industry, this is organized by grey market, right? And that's just a bad representation. That's not where I stand for. The watch world is a magical place, right? It's one of the most coolest industries in the world, and like opening the doors to a wider public is only a good thing. But how that was organized is, I'm very, very sad.
You could probably have your own show though, if you were like the figurehead and then arranged it all.
Do I really want to do that? First of all. Second, I don't really have the right people that have organized events like that around me. And if I do something, I do it like 100,000%. If I commit, I commit. And I don't have the time.
Who was that person who had like a crazy nightmare, like TanaCon
Yeah,
or something like
so
that?
there's this YouTuber called Tana Mojo,
something like that.
and she wanted to take on VidCon with her own convention at the exact same time, right near it, called TanaCon, and it was carnage. So she just didn't know how to run an event. So it's good that you're saying that beforehand.
Like
No, but-
really bad though.
Like that's not my expertise. I'm not an event organizer, and like I'm not willing to take that risk either. Like I'm a watch guy, mate. I run a watch business. I run a few other companies, and I do that with a very, 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 like I'm on the ball with everything.
You put your name to stuff you understand.
Yes.
And that's your reputation, which takes years to build, moments to destroy.
Exactly. It's
Do you think having that focus is really important with business? Because there's so many different opportunities that pop up when you get a bit of money, and then your attention can be split doing lots of different things.
A really, really good example, right? 2022 was a perfect representation of my business, right? And me. 2022 wasn't the best of years for me personally, although I became a father for the first time and we hit 1 million subscribers. My child is the most important thing, right? But mentally, I was drained, right? After working 6-7 years, 24/7, and I put everything on the line. I hit a brick wall, right? I just hit a brick wall. And same as, funny enough, Andrew Tate, I never believed in depression, which I today still think that it's subjective in a way,
100%.
right? But I couldn't even leave my bed, not because I was depressed, but because I was I was tired, I was done, I was burned out, right? And maybe because of that, you feel depression. But I fought a fight that took me a real long time in my head, 6-7 months, which in my head is a very long time to really recover from. And that although I have an incredible team of people around me, Stephen, my right-hand man, unbelievable guy, Johnny doing all the social media and YouTube, unbelievable. My company, Pride and Pinion, the watch company, stood still. It was stable, it was good, and it was profitable. But as a captain of a ship, I was ill. And I couldn't steer it in the direction that I wanted to.
And what do you put that amount of work down to? Because I know certainly during COVID, I always say it was the best of times for some, the worst of times for others. For me, I absolutely worked myself stupid during it, and I became a bit ill myself. So was that a similar situation to yourself, or?
I was burned out, mate. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even mate, I was in bed for over a week, and I still couldn't do it. I was tired every time I got myself to do something. I couldn't even film. Mate, the things that Johnny had to do to get me in front of a camera was bizarre, right? And it was hard. But you know what? That whole period has showed how important it is that you're on the ball with things. How massively important it is as a captain, you give the right fucking example, right, to your team. And as Stephen is incredible. Stephen is the absolute polar opposite of me. Wouldn't really like to take a risk.
And is this your operations manager?
Yeah. Nah, like he's my partner in other businesses, because that's like, I want him to be there, same as Johnny, for whatever we're going to venture.
It's
that's
a lot
the people
like
I
Kai
want.
for us as well. He does a good job.
Aye.
Does a fabulous job.
You're shite at golf, but you do a good job. Right?
He's very good.
But for me, I want Johnny, and I want Stephen, I want Gav, I want like everyone, Tim, like I want them they're not employees, they're family, right? And I want them with me for whatever journey we're going on in the next 100 years, right? And it's late. That's for me the most important thing. But it shows that when the captain is ill, my business stood still, and they maintained the business fantastic, unbelievable. But progress is key. Brand equity is key. Adding value is key. I don't give a shit. I've never taken a penny off the table with Pride Opinion Live. Never taken a penny off the table. It's about adding value, right? That's the key for me. And I couldn't add value to my team. My team couldn't really done their job, but didn't go the extra mile.
What snapped you out of that?
Couldn't go the extra mile because I wasn't there.
And then when you were lying there in bed and obviously not being able to get out, what snapped you out of it?
I don't remember what really got me out of it, but I think it's safe to say that the last month and a half, I've been back. The last month and a half, I've been really back. Maybe the birth of my wee boy, that really, because I still felt tired when the wee man was born, and still didn't feel 100%. And about 2 weeks ago, I said to Stephen, "It's like, I'm back, mate. I'm back." And he says, "I know." And I'm like, I'm as sharp, as driven, maybe even more than I was when I had absolutely nothing the moment when I started my business, when I wasn't no safety net. Because all of a sudden, having money made me lazy as well. And it just changed me in a way that I didn't like. And then I became tired, and it was really bad.
Well, Google says you're worth about $4 million.
I love
How
it.
accurate is that?
I love it. I think you're very far off.
You're a lot north of that, aren't you?
No, a lot south.
Really? You do surprise me.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, right? I would value myself. My companies are worth a good bit of money, right? And I own the company. So you would then say you're worth so much.
And your personal brand as well. Surely that has a value to it. I know you can't sell the business, but it does have a value.
Yeah, but it's the same as Andrew Tate saying that he's a billionaire when he can't even sell fucking, what do you call that?
What, Hustlers University?
Hustlers University. Yeah. Because if Andrew stays in jail, Hustlers University will die, and it's done, right? There's no value in there, right? And my watch collection is worth a lot of money, and that's what I own, right? But I $4 million, I appreciate that, but it could be more, but I think it's significantly less because I like to value it on what I own.
This net worth thing, to
weird.
me, it winds me up
It's
because
so
there's no
subjective.
actual definition of what someone's net worth is. And really, like Andrew says,
Well, I guess
he
it's
could say,
assets minus liabilities.
well, it is that as well. But when you start going into personal brands, he could say, well, my personal brand's worth, I don't know, 200 million. I'll times that by 5, the industry standard. I'm a billionaire. But there is no gauge for actual net worth, is there?
No,
Not that
I don't think
understand.
so. Maybe like to be fair, I have genuinely never thought about this. How much am I worth? Because I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about money in the first place. I'm just happy to do what I like. I'm just grateful that I can do what I like, and I just want to do what I love.
And the
It's that
money's the
simple.
tool, isn't it? That enables you to do that, though. So obviously money within your businesses or within your personal life, that's a tool at that stage.
Right. But I have an obsession with making money. So I bought that, what I showed you, the McLaren, right? I bought that, and the only reason I'm buying that is because I can drive it for 2, 3, 4 months, but then I can sell it and I make 5, 6 grand, right? You would say that's pleasure and stuff. Yeah. But
Yeah, but what you bought that for, I'd buy it for that.
Yes, exactly.
You know, so I know you'll get a profit out of it. You know you'll get a profit out of it.
Exactly.
Plus you get to drive a beautiful car as well.
No, yeah, it's
just a smart way
It's a
to
win-win.
handle your money, isn't it?
for me. It's like I look at things different. Like even in my personal life, the only thing I would say is that Stephen, you know what the thing is, my missus, Stephen, Johnny, everyone around me, like. I spend money like it's no tomorrow, right? I had gambling issues in the past, right? It was stupid, right? And then when I started making proper money, I started fucking renting private jets, which is the biggest waste of fucking money in any way, shape, or form. And if you ever taken a photo and acting like you're cool with a private jet, I actually think you're a fucking loser, but that's different, right?
It does numbers on Instagram though, doesn't it?
It
I
does
understand
numbers,
why people do.
Oh, yeah. But like you use it, you if you're a proper billionaire, right? That doesn't, and I've met proper billionaires. Actually, there's one video what we have on. There's an Australian gentleman, absolutely what a nice guy he is. Australian billionaire who flew out with his whatever, name me a brand, whatever it is, like a mad fucking jet from America, and he lives in America, but he's an Australian guy. Flew to Belfast to meet me and vision and buying a business, whatever. Deal didn't go through because it wasn't the right thing for us. But like that's when you need a jet.
Yeah. And
right?
I bet he's not taking pictures.
And I bet he's not taking pictures. I wasted money on that stupid shit, right? Because it's absolutely pointless. It's just the most pointless thing I've ever done. And genuinely, I spent fortunes on that shit.
There are times though when that's a good buy, isn't it? I mean, we went skiing last year, and
well, it's not quite a private jet. That was a helicopter.
It's not a private jet, but we chartered a helicopter because we didn't want to go on a coach trip. The coach trip was paid from the airport to the skiing resort, but I wanted an extra day skiing. If we got a helicopter ride, we could be up there.
There's a reason for that.
Land on top of the mountain, we were skiing straight away.
And like he says,
and I got to give my best mate, or one of my best mates, the thing he'd always wanted to do all his life.
I give you an idea. The other day, not too long ago, we rented a helicopter to go from Saint-Tropez to, what do you call that airport? Nice. Sorry, Nice.
How about that? Out
Right,
of the blue.
Nice, Jesus. Like
X-Fly.
X-Fly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, I mean, that was a fucking 30-minute flight. Otherwise, I was in traffic for 3 hours.
Yeah, so you
Right,
save yourself time.
You see, and time is money. And
And was
I
that a
understand
business write-off as well?
No.
Oh, it wasn't?
No,
Okay.
it was just a piss off. But
Fair,
that's different.
fair play. R1 was a business write-off,
It was,
so it's
yeah.
all right.
That was just a piss off. But like, it's just, the fact is, like, we're living in this flex culture, right? And I don't think you're, like, if you see that 10X in Grant Cardone and all these people that follow Grant Cardone or try to imitate Grant Cardone and private jets, success, fuck off. You're bullshit. You know what is success? What is proper success? That you do what you love every single day. That's freedom, right? And then get paid for doing what you love every single day. That is unbelievable freedom, right? That is just a private jet is superficial. If I fly, funny enough, Steven said, if you do this one more time, I will fucking resign. And I was like, but it made sense, right? Because if I hire a private jet to go to London, it costs me $7,000. What the fuck am I doing, right? I can get a ticket for 80 quid. Like, I'm not respecting that money enough. And yes, I've been doing stupid shit and flew to Amsterdam and then Liverpool and it was a bit for a grand, but it's all because of insecurities.
So let's go from the top end of flexing to what I'd say is probably the bottom end of flexing, and that's the fake watch market. Do you think that's got any bearing, or does it help at all with the real watch market?
Yeah, of course. I genuinely think, first of all, I absolutely do not advise in any way, shape, or form fake watches. There's several reasons for this. Ethically as well, because a lot of these watches are assembled and made, for example, in sweatshops, child labor. A lot of that money that's being made with that goes into terrorist organizations. all across the water. It's bad.
I've
right?
actually
It's fucking
been
bad.
in a fake Rolex factory in China.
How bizarre
and-
is that?
and you
How
bought one?
bizarre is that?
Yeah, and no, I didn't buy one actually.
You have one though, but not.
Yeah, I
from
do
there.
have one, but
He's just been outed.
yeah.
Well,
but,
he's shown it in another video.
Yeah.
I'll let you get to your point.
but the point was,
Oh, you just wanted
The-
to do that. You're a wee
Yeah.
fucker.
I looked at him when he said it.
You're gonna get smashed that night, son.
this factory actually made model helicopter parts. So that's what I was there for. And what you say about sweatshops is completely true, because there wasn't a single guard on a single machine. And I actually got hit on the just above the eye by a piece of swarf coming off a lathe. And I said, I couldn't buy from this place anyway. One, because you're faking watches, and I don't actually agree you should be doing that. And secondly, look at your workforce. You're not looking after them. It's disgusting. And I walked away, and it was probably a very good deal for the helicopter sides of things, but I was having no part of that.
It is an absolute disgrace, right? So for that, I just never, ever, ever go that route. Just remember, when you wear a fake watch and you look at it, that someone is. And we're all talking about morals and Qatar and blah blah blah. If you wear a fake watch, you're the same. Yeah, and if you have a voice about how a workforce in Qatar work and how bad the conditions were, then shut your fucking mouth. If you wear a fake watch, you don't give a shit. You're a hypocrite, right?
So it's time to buy a real one today.
So it's time to buy a real one. But it does, in a way, help the industry because, like I said before, it's a fight for someone's wrist. And having a 14, 15, 16-year-old wearing a fake Rolex because that's what he makes feel, gets him confidence.
And he's going to aspire to
He's
want
going to
the real
aspire to
thing.
one. I've been in that situation with AP. I wore a fake AP when I was in Marbella, acting like Billy Big Balls, knowing nothing about life, knowing nothing about what's important. And if I knew then what I knew now, I wouldn't even consider wearing it. But it's bizarre, but it does in a weird way help the industry.
Is there a level of fake as well? And so like a bottom level, a better level, and an actual worth level, or are they all worthless?
Are they all shit?
They're all fucking shit, mate. Don't try to
good way
justify
to put it.
They're all fucking shit.
Because we did have someone on the podcast recently, didn't we? That's in the
Trying to
the
justify
bag
your
market.
fake watch.
No. He was in the
Yeah,
bag.
stop justifying
Yeah,
that.
he was in the
right?
bag market, and there was certainly that he thinks that drives the industry forward. And there was certainly a level of fake that was seen as being, that is actually worth money. It's not worth money.
It's worthless.
Thank you very much.
So, moving it on, if you could add up all of the stock you hold at any one time, what would it be in value?
Oh, you hear my dogs?
Yeah.
Ooh. At the moment,
Yeah.
it's 25.6 million.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the stock we have at the business.
Is that the higher end of what you've had?
No,
What's the highest you've had at any one time then?
43.4, I believe.
And how do you sleep okay at night knowing you have all of that?
It's
in
having the
stock?
right people, right team, be right prepared. The fact is, right, the fact that I can drill these numbers in one go means I control my business. And
You
I know
got your
what's going
finger on the pulse, haven't
right?
you?
And it means as well, security is very important, right? So this is just key, right? Being prepared, knowing what you're doing, right? We hold watches in consignment of customers. They need to fucking trust me. You see what I mean? If I don't know what I'm doing with my business, why the fuck would they trust me with their hard-earned money, therefore their hard-earned watch that I'm selling for them? How can they trust me?
So the value of watches, as we've discussed, has gone down somewhat. So how has that affected you?
The value hasn't gone down, but the value was just extremely bloated from certain watches where people were paying over the odds because they were using it as leverage, or that is gone.
Do you
right?
think it's
That
because
bubble is
people had
gone.
so much money during COVID and the pandemic and lockdown that then they were spending a lot more assets and driving up the price?
I'm not very specialized in that, but it looks that way. I'm not specialized in that, but we've seen a
bubble.
massive spike in that. But as well as that, we've seen the spikes with Pokemon cards as well. Charizard was at a certain point.
So has that
went up and
affected
down,
you with a loss or
No,
not really?
like we've lost about £400,000 in during that period because we've been in certain watches at a certain price.
Well, I'd have said you've done very well there.
Yeah, we've done very well.
Yeah.
Very, very well. We could have had way worse.
Yeah.
But that's being in control of your business.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Knowing when, how, etc. Right? But we've made a big hit, right? £400,000.
Well, with that amount of inventory to only drop that amount, I'm actually shocked. I think you've done a stunning job.
Yeah, but like a part of that inventory is as well a consignment, right? It's not all that inventory is all owned by ourselves.
So what's the percentage of the two, consignment versus stock you actually own?
So at the moment, it was always 80-20, 80 owned, 20 consignment. Because of the time it is, we needed to change our strategy as a business, and it's closer to 50-50.
Yeah, I think that's smart to have both streams.
I use both within my business. We sell pre-owned, and I say it's fantastic business for what we do with RC models, funnily enough, and doing it on consignment. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
isn't
but
it?
consignment is the best for the end consumer as well.
Yeah.
If you're not in a rush getting that money, why would you
sell it when you can do it on consignment?
You see, because the end consumer gets way more money for it.
Yeah.
Because we don't have to use our own capital, which means that you get more money. And if you're not in a rush, it's perfect.
Dad was actually trying to convince trotters to do the exact same thing.
Because
they weren't
buy,
keen on it.
They buy all their stock and they won't do anything on consignment. And I found that absolutely mind-blowing.
I guess
Everyone has his business.
Some people's business models.
Right.
Do you want to end it on your famous question?
When is enough? Enough.
Never. As long as the fun
You can't
stops.
stop on never, unfortunately, because everyone says never. So
As long as the fun stops. When I don't have fun anymore, it's over. When it's not a passion anymore, when you're done, it's over. But it's a passion for a reason. I'll die doing what I do today.
I was going to say it's going to be a very long time because your passion is overflowing.
Aye. This is my life, mate. This is my life. And I'm extremely grateful and humbled that I am in the situation that I am in today, that I can do what I love every single day. That's just unbelievable. I've been in situations where we nearly went bankrupt. We've been in tough situations, but the fact we fought through and the support I've received and YouTube and the people that watch it, subscribers, the team I have around me, the team could have walked away many, many times. It could have earned more money somewhere else, but they always stayed. And the customers, the support, my first ever customers that are still my friends today, one of my best ever customers that we had the weekend in Liverpool together. I mean, to my incredible friends that I've surrounded because of it. This is my life, and I'll literally die doing what I do today. I won't die today, but you know what I mean.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, just preface it. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. Really enjoyed it. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm, and we will see you next Friday with a brand new podcast. So it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye for the rest of us. See you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Now fuck off out of my house, will you?